Welcome everyone back to the Crimson 15 podcast. I'm your host, Crimson Sen.
15 PCA.
ATIP454.
Be sure to check us out over on Twitter at C15 Podcast. Join the discussion over on Discord, link in the description below. And if you're enjoying the videos, be sure to sub, like, share, and hit that bell for notifications. Second episode of What If, and it's a What If T'Challa ended up being Star-Lord. And this episode is funny weird.
Funny weird.
I don't like the Captain Peggy Carter.
That was cool.
That one was cool. This was more like, okay, because it gets a little over the top with like, okay, we get it. T'Challa makes everyone better.
Yeah.
Like, T'Challa can make you the best version of yourself. Like, everyone he comes in contact with, he literally turns the Ravagers into good guys.
Yeah, where they're saving galaxies and stuff and being heroes.
No, it wasn't like with Peter Quill. It was like, they reluctantly start to turn that way. No, they're all the way good. There is no turning into.
Right, there's not even like a bad thought of like, we're gonna double cross you.
Nothing like that.
And he also has the ability to turn people into goofballs.
Right.
So
seriously.
it opens up just like Guardians of the Galaxy. So maybe he landed on that planet. He's gonna get the Power Stone that was in the thing, the Infinity one, where it's just like it. He pulls it out, then the guy shows up, and he's like, "Oh, you who are you? Oh, I'm just," and it's T'Challa's voice, and it's really Chadwick Boseman's last thing.
Oh yeah,
it's awesome. He has a great voice. He did that perfection.
Scavenger.
But you might know him by my other name, Star-Lord. Instead of him going, "Who's?" like, guys, it's Star-Lord. So the opposite of like how Peter Quill was unknown.
Really well, yeah.
Like, we're talking fanboy over the top crazy. Like,
if anyone remembers Coming to America,
yes.
there's a scene where he meets that guy at the basketball game and he's like, "Oh my God, did you?" Like he just like is on his hands and knees.
And knew it, and he's like, yeah.
Just like there's such parallels between that and Coming to America.
Yeah.
He's like, "You don't need to bow. Well, should I be on my hands and knees?" And it's like, okay, and it goes on for a little while. It's funny, but he's like, "Oh, this would be great if my boss wants that."
Yeah, Ronan, he really wants that stone.
He's like, "Well, unless you want to hire me, I'll be able to chase." Like, "Oh no, we're all staffed up. I don't need you on my team." He's like, "Well, then I'm gonna have to fight you. But is it okay? Can I fight you?" He's like, "If you must." He does the thing. He's like, "Oh, this would be the greatest day of my life." This guy's in love with him.
I love
it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Because remember that time you saved that one planet and you did this and that? He's all saying all his deeds. It's so funny.
He's like, well, in a day's work. Because he's like, "Oh, and you're so humble."
Yeah.
Because T'Challa you would be a humble guy.
Yeah.
So they have a fight, and it just kind of goes on, and then he actually punches him. He's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." He's like, you're supposed to fight him. Why do you?
It's like, yeah, keep doing that. Like, we're fighting.
Yeah, and then he tricks him into punching the thing. Oh, that's such a Star-Lord
This is
move.
classic.
And then he knocks himself out.
Yeah, like he shocks himself on the thing, beats the other two guys. He gets out there, and there's a whole army of dudes. And he's like, "Oh, we surrounded Star-Lord. Oh, good thing Ravagers never fly alone." And then there's like now that's a start. That's something would happen to Peter Quill's like, "That's the signal."
And he says it again and nothing's happening. Oh.
Was that like a catchphrase? And then like Yondu shows up and kills all of them. So in this version, he didn't break away from Yondu. Him and Yondu just became good guys.
Yeah, no. He actually was enough to convince him to be a good guy.
Then they're like, "Oh man, if this was the old days, we would be able to sell this thing to the highest bidder instead of using it to repower a star to save a whole galaxy." So they became just straight up like doers of good deeds.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was a good way to hide the stone if it's in the middle of a sun. Like, how are you supposed to go in the center of that?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then you bring that one guy.
They hire him, the fanboy. So, yeah, T'Challa's just like this awesome dude that makes everyone more awesome.
That's it tells you he had the opportunity. Peter Quill had look much greater he would do.
Yeah, I
How
know,
many great
right?
deeds he would do.
Right. It's almost like, it's kind of like having someone that's like the regular like sea level, and then it's like if you put someone that was great in that position, awesome.
What he would do.
So it goes, okay, let's talk about how this all happened. Back in 1988, T'Challa's like, "Oh, Dad, I want to travel the world. I want to see the world outside Wakanda. Oh, my son, you don't know that world isn't for us. You're going to be a king here. That world is separate from us for a reason, blah, blah, blah." Then T'Challa starts walking and he goes outside the fence. Then so happened that's where the Ravagers were too. They pick him up, and then they bring him aboard, and then he's like, "Oh, here's Peter Quill." Then Yondu's like, "You idiots, this doesn't even look like the kid we're looking for." "Oh, but the energy signatures are through the roof. It has to be him."
Yeah.
Then the kid's like looking around like, "This is awesome."
Yeah.
"Hey kid, you're not too freaked out." He's like, "Oh, this is cool. Like yeah, I want to see the world. I want to explore." "Well, kid, how about more than the world? I'll show you the universe." And that's how he picked him up.
Yeah.
You think Yondu would have been like, "Okay, we still have to get Peter Quill."
Right. But
I think he was captivated by this kid. Like, wow, he's not even scared at all. Like, he's excited.
So
that sense of adventure.
It's just crazy how T'Challa, even as like just being around this kid for 2 seconds, just like inspires people.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
weird.
Right. And also it's kind of funny too how like the little difference of like letting his lackeys pick the kid up instead of him.
Yeah.
That's
now
what
that
changed
changed
everything.
everything.
So we kind of time skip to the future, and he's like, got the stone, and they're like in some type of super cool nightclub, and they're walking around and everything, and you kind of see more people. There's probably a million freaking like
I'm sure
Easter
there's
eggs.
gonna be
Oh, yeah.
a million things you miss Easter egg videos.
Then
already
that guy's
out there.
like, whoa, that was so cool. What's your favorite adventure? And he's like, I don't know. There's so many. What about the time we robbed the bank of this? Oh, that was a good one. They're just having like, good times or whatever.
Right. And then all of a sudden,
We hear, it's just, this is where it gets, okay, guys, it's being a little bit silly. You hear, like, remember the time you stopped Thanos? And then you hear Josh Brolin's voice. He's like, oh, he just, it's a bigger man to show that you admit that you were wrong. Even though I thought I still liked my plan, you showed me a different way to redistribute resources in the universe. And they're like, oh, just showing you a better way. And he's like, my plan, you have to admit, was still pretty good. And like, no, it was genocide. But it really wasn't. They're like, no, Thanos, it was.
And
But
he's
he
like,
like made.
but he's like, it was random. And
But
he's
it
like,
was, since it was random, it's really not genocide.
it's like,
Then they're like,
yeah, Reynolds, you don't get away with that.
but he's so cool with it.
yeah.
And then he made Thanos a cool dude.
Yeah.
Like a chill dude.
He must have met him at the turning point and actually showed him, no, if we can somehow save resources, we don't have to sacrifice people.
This is where it gets silly. It's just
Yeah.
silly. Now, guys, don't take it. I remember kind
It's
of
a Sifka team.
I saw
story.
people on on Twitter, people freaking out. Guys, it's silly.
It's
guys,
silly.
it's supposed to be, it's a what if. So they're going to go extravagant with
Because
the
if
what
it was
if.
the same, then what would be the point?
Guys, believe me, there's so many more what ifs that are way crazier than this. Okay, guys,
Right.
and let's let you know that. So this is fine. It's okay.
And then we see Drax. He's like he's the
Bartender.
bartender guy. Then he's like, your money's no good here. And he's like, oh, no, we only take cash instead of credit. So, because Drax is very to the point. So when he said that, he wasn't like inferring that you don't get the drink. He was literally telling him his money was no good.
Good, no, yeah.
And he's like, oh, you're Star-Lord. You saved my planet. My wife and daughter would love to get a picture of you and send it to him. Like, oh, so he's a wife and daughter.
Yeah,
that
so
was
he's alive.
nice.
They're alive.
He takes a picture. Oh, that picture was awful. We need to take another one.
I mean,
He's
that
like,
was great.
I looked amazing, but you're terrible. And he's like, no, I'm telling you, you look awful. And he's like being so bad. Because that's the thing about Drax. There is no sarcasm.
No, because his planet is literally what they say is what's on their mind.
Literal.
Literal. You can't take it as
Then
a-
we hear like, oh, hey, Cha-Cha. I'm
Yeah.
like, is that Nebula with blonde
Yeah.
hair? I'm like,
Yeah.
so in this version, he gets with Nebula,
Nebula.
instead of Star-Lord getting with
Yeah,
Gamora. He
Gamora.
got with Nebula. And Nebula looking pretty cute with the blonde hair.
She straight up looks like that classic like Bond girl.
Yeah.
Almost
Oh.
like where that perfect. You
or,
know,
or a bad guy in Street Fighter.
Yeah, she has like that blonde kind of bouncy hair, and she's kind of
Yeah.
more nice. Instead
Yes.
of, I hate life because my life was
Because
horrible.
you gotta remember, it stopped Thanos before he went like.
Before he even probably picked up Gamora.
Yeah.
And he maybe wasn't even that bad to her either. So maybe that kind of made her meld her out a little bit.
Right.
So it's like, oh, you picked it up. Oh, that's pretty great. And using it to save the universe and all those things. That's so great of you. And then they're kind of having their back and forth and thinking, oh, okay. First I thought, oh, he just met her. I'm like, oh no, they're flirting. They're like together.
They're boyfriend and girlfriend kind of.
The
And
fact that she calls him Cha-Cha, right there, that
Cha-Cha.
needs to tell you right there.
and then the funny thing too is like, well, just because he got the stone, they're like, oh, don't let my father have it. And it's like,
yeah,
a
does the
joke.
big guy know about this?
Yeah.
Oh, your father? He's pretty cool. And then he's just kind of like, it's like, he's still Thanos. You know? He's like-
Exactly. If you gave him all the stones, he would think about it really hard.
Yeah, if he had it with a glove, he'd be like, I could do it. He's all, I could do
Hey,
it.
sure, you guys, check this out. Oh, wait.
But she's like, hey, there's another big heist. There's these seeds of Genesis or whatever, and one particle of this can seed a whole planet. A shake of this can seed a whole universe.
Verse.
So we can like solve all the vegetation and hunger
So
in
you
the
go.
galaxy.
In the whole galaxy, yeah.
He's like, yeah, even your father would probably like this, you know, the idea of like having enough for everybody.
Yeah.
Then like, I still like the fact that the other guy's still like talking to him, and then like Thanos like doesn't like the new guy or whatever because he's just so like, hey
Calm
guys.
down.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's super weird, but like, hey, who has this? It's the Collector. And they're like, whoa, we don't mess with the Collector because he's like the new mob boss. Like, hey, wasn't that you, Thanos? Weren't you like the kingpin of the universe?
But see, when I left, a vacuum hand blown up and he took over.
Yeah.
So instead of the Collector just being a collector, he kind of became like a warlord collector. So he still likes his little collection, but he's actually like buff and huge.
Yeah, he worked out.
Yeah, so he's like a more of that kind of destructive type
Mm-hmm.
instead of just that eccentric type. So now he's the big baddie, and then freaking Yondu's like, no way.
We're not doing it. Too
We're-
risky.
Way too risky. Oh, come on, are you a little scared? He's like, no, I'm not going in there because it's way too much. We can't handle this.
And then he's like, yeah, he'll kill you, dissect you, and then whatever, leave you as a war mantle thing as a prize.
But then, T'Challa's like, well, we're gonna basically go anyways. We have a plan. We're gonna sneak in there and do the thing. He's like, oh, geez, okay, I'm gonna follow you because I'm not gonna let you go there alone.
Mm-hmm.
So just like that, he still lives in that celestial head and everything. And then, it's very Ocean's 11. So here's the plan. And then they gotta go through the plan. They're gonna pretend to be selling the orb to him.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be Yondu and Nebula. They're gonna go in. They have Star-Lord's gonna be hiding in the box. Then when they go to scan the box, and the cool thing is he has the Black Order as his bodyguard. So instead of Thanos having the Black Order,
Thanos is like, be careful, these guys are really bad.
No matter what universe they're in, they're always gonna be sleazeballs.
Yeah, that's gonna be working for someone.
Oh, you guys are gonna cause a riot outside, and they're gonna go and try to stop it, and that's when we sneak Star-Lord in, and he's gonna go look for the seeds of Genesis or whatever. So okay, not a bad plan, but this place is humongous. Star-Lord's not gonna be able to go oh, this is where this is gonna be, and I'm gonna get it.
Yeah.
So oh, cool, that's a great plan. Let's do this. He's kind of bouncing back between the plan and then what's really happening in real time. So I was like, oh, Nebula, nice to see you around, because her eye got all Then he's like, oh, I couldn't help myself. So he's still eccentric, but he's super buff. Yeah, and it was like, hey, we need to get down to business. All business and no talk. I like that about you. So they're just trying to do this distraction thing, keep his eye off the prize. T'Challa's walking through the museum, runs into freaking Howard the Duck, and he's like, hey, everyone that's here, it's so sad to have people in cages and stuff. Then Howard Duck's like, hey, guy, he's trying to talk to him. He still has his drinks and stuff. It's like, you know where the seeded thing is? Oh, botanicals, go down about 100 yards and to the left.
Past the Dark Elves.
But if you get a Dark Elf literature, really boring, don't want to read it. He's like, it breaks him out, just show me. Yeah. So it's him and Howard Duck. I really thought they were going to team up for the whole thing.
I was hoping for that.
So now that's a combo. Howard the Duck and Black Panther. Wouldn't that be hilarious? So they're walking through here and everything, and it's just okay, get back outside to the fight. And the guy's like, Thanos, I thought we were just pretend fighting. Oh, I don't like how you keep calling me Captain Genocide or whatever. Do it again, and you'll really see. Captain Genocide. Bam! He does it again. That's stupid funny. Ass. He said he didn't like it.
I love this funny version of this guy because he was such a serious guy in the other universe, and it's just hilarious.
So they're still continue on, and they run into a bar. Then he's like, oh, I gotta refuel. I'm a little parched. Yeah. So he starts drinking. The alarms go off because, of course, he knew that this whole time that Star-Lord was in there. Oh, I knew your little trick, Nebula. Then Howard Duck's like, hey, man, you're missing happy hour. He's like, no, I gotta get the hell out of here. Slides under the door. And he ends up just so happens to run into a Wakandan ship. Yeah. Goes in there.
Because his necklace
started to glow because of the freaking vibranium. Walks in there, and then he sees it's like a museum piece. So they have marionettes, not marionettes, mannequins. Yeah. And he's looking around, then his thing starts up the ship, and he sees his dad. Oh, our son was lost to the stars, and then we're going to go look for him. Maybe if it takes us to search every single star, we're going to go find him.
Because what happened, Yondu told him that his country was destroyed, and it wasn't.
It wasn't.
He lied. He lied to him.
So he would never want him to go back. See, the thing, we thought that maybe Wakanda fell apart without their king.
But no,
that's what I was thinking, because a lot of stuff that could have happened without him there, it could have caused the destruction.
Yeah, exactly. You think Killmonger would be part of that too. You think somewhere, but...
Yeah, you would think. Because he was so crazy that, I don't know. I don't know if he would have kept it running the way it could have.
But I guess the dad never died?
No.
So then that wasn't a problem, I guess.
It's one of those weird things, because I guess they don't even bring it up. Because we thought that's what happened, but... So he finds out that his country wasn't destroyed, and he's like, you son of a B-word. Turns around, Nebula has a gun on him. Oh, sorry, Cha-Cha, but you're the prize. I had a debt to settle with the collector, and you're what I'm selling. And so it's he got double crossed. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh man, Nebula, you B-word. Mm-hmm. He gets thrown into a cage, and then freaking T'Challa's like, freaking Yondu, you lied. My country wasn't destroyed. They were looking for me. Oh no, I had to lie to you because it kept you, an explorer.
You're like me.
You're like me. You needed to stay in the stars, and if you knew there was no past, you would just keep pushing towards the future.
Yeah. He did it. It wasn't the worst thing in the world, but still, he lied because it's you have your country, but this is a whole universe, a whole galaxy.
But look at all the good you did too.
Yeah.
He literally saved billions of lives.
Exactly.
And with stopping Thanos, he saved trillions.
Yeah.
So then he gets pulled in front of the collector. He gets put into a box, and he's like, "Oh, you're part of my collection." He's like, dude, I'm just a human. Like, well, I'm not special at anything. Then he's like, yeah, you know what? Maybe you're true. You can't fly around and shoot laser beams or nothing. He's like, open this thing and I'll show you what I can do.
Yeah.
You know what? You're actually pretty boring. Just dissect him, cut him up, sell his parts. I don't care anymore.
Right.
So it's like
tells that wizard,
the one guy, the dude who always crosses arms or whatever. Yeah. So we get back to Nebula, and they're like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" Because she's talking to Yondu and the rest of them. And it's funny because Thanos is like part of the team.
He's like, "What are you doing here, daughter?" Like he's saying it's still that evil. Like...
And he's about to say more than that one idiot kid interrupts him and goes, "How could you do this?"
Yeah, he was my best friend. It's like, T'Challa knew you, bro. He's not your best friend. But then she pulls out a gun, turns it on him. Oh, it was all the plan all along. I was going to double cross him. He was going to think I was doing it. I didn't tell you guys so you'd go along with the plan. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, it was part of the big
And even convinced Yondu to go on the plan. At first he didn't want to, like you said. And then he...
Yeah, because if I would have told Yondu the plan, he wouldn't have let me walk into a trap.
Yeah, exactly. And then she already had the
leads.
Yeah, because then it shows a scene where she's talking before, okay, I'm going to betray you, but I'm not going to betray you. So that way you can,
I can pay off my debt. I can get the seeds, and we can all get out of here. So I'm like, okay, that's a pretty decent double cross. And T'Challa's necklace has vibranium in it, so he kind of makes like the little cloud, boom, breaks through the glass. But this I forgot what his name was. But the wizard guy can he makes the glass go.
Oh, that would hurt so bad.
I'm like, oh, he's cutting his wrist and his legs.
Oh, because he tells him, he's like, oh, where I come from, we don't take kindly to people who put people in cages.
Yeah.
Because slavery and all that kind of stuff. We don't like that kind of stuff. So then he doesn't even care. But then that lady shoots him, and the pink lady.
Yeah, the lady who died in the other universe with a stone because she wanted to get free. Yeah, she's alive in this one.
She's like, I like what you said about not putting people in cages. So T'Challa changed to this lady. Yeah. Just with one sentence.
He's such an inspirational character.
So he's like, oh, I'm forever in your debt or whatever. And she's like, happy. She's going to get join the team too. But then he's starting to run out of there. But then the Collector kind of has all these all his items. So it's a big metal fist, boom, knocks him through the thing. He's like, oh, so T'Challa still has his better than average physical abilities.
But he doesn't have a suit though.
He's just a guy.
And he doesn't have the potion.
The Black Panther
gives strength.
So he's kind of fighting him and stuff, but then the Collector's kind of just messing with him. Oh, what about this? He opens up a thing, and it has a Captain America shield. It has the Thor's hammers in there too.
Thor's hammer.
So are the Avengers not?
I don't know. It's weird.
But then he maybe you'll prefer something a little more like this. What did he pull first?
A dark elf blade
made from dark matter.
And then he said maybe a little something more theatrical like that. Then he has the helmet of Helena.
He killed her too. Dang.
He's like, the flying blades of the goddess of death or whatever. And he even does the whole hoo thing with the stars.
He flips it back and it kind of
I kind of want the Collector's brother being this too. I love him from Ragnarok. He was so funny.
Oh yeah, the other guy, Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
So the fight's kind of going on, but T'Challa's been able to kind of hold his own for a little bit. But he's like, oh, lucky for you, he gets stabbed into the freaking thing right to the shoulder.
And he's stuck against one of the containers.
And so they're making their way out, and they end up having to fight the Black Order. Mm-hmm. They're getting knocked around a little bit, but then Thanos is like, hey, you guys keep going, I'll hold them back. So it's like, you can't stop them all. You're crazy. I'm not crazy. I'm mad. Mad Titan. So this is Thanos just knocking dudes around and everything. But when he starts fighting the Black Order, it's kind of more of a
even fight.
Because he's fighting two at once.
Mm-hmm.
But it's super cool to see Thanos good guy. It's weird. It's so weird.
It's really weird.
Pretty cool fight. He's getting knocked around, but he's still able to he's taking full on blows
from that big guy.
And with his hammer too. Yeah.
But I do like how Nebula sees her dad kind of getting his butt kicked, and she can't just let him. Because now he's not a bad guy anymore.
Yeah, he's just kind of probably like a jerk.
Yeah, even early in the episode, they go, that's your daughter? No, we're adopted. They will say at the same time, yeah.
He's like, you guys are actually from your blood? He's like, no, we're adopted. He's like, that's crazy because you guys look nothing alike.
Yeah.
And so we get back to T'Challa, and, he's like, the Collector just being his all, He's like, why even do all this? What's the point of collecting all these things? It doesn't do anything. And then he's like, lucky for you, I don't fly solo. And then, of course, the arrow comes. So it's Yondu and T'Challa versus him.
Yeah, the arrow's not doing nothing. It's that armor,
It's hitting him. It's knocking him back a little, but then he just grabs it and breaks it.
Yeah.
So
now it's the fist fight.
Yeah.
Thanos is getting beat down. He's getting hammered down. Boom, boom, boom. I thought, I'm like, oh, he's going to break out or do something. No, he just kind of got beat down. But then,
Nebula shows up.
Just hearing the blonde hair is so weird. She shoots him, knocks out a couple of them, saves her dad, which I thought was pretty cool. She gets caught. She throws some of those seeds.
Just a couple.
Just 2 or 3. And he just...
Turned into a big old plant thing. He's gone.
So basically, turns his whole entire head thing into like a cheetah.
He's gonna have hair now. He's got cheetah hair.
And it looks just like Alex Ross.
I know.
He's just a little
fro.
Flying out now, beat the devil out of it. He's all.
So, saved your dad, which is super nice. The planet's starting to fall apart now, or like the skull.
Yeah, skull head, that's their skull.
So, like, everything's getting destroyed now because this whole thing's going to tear from the whole planet. It's going to become just like a giant living plant thing. So, they're getting their butts kicked by the collector, and it's funny because they're kind of beating him a little bit, but he's way stronger than them.
Yeah, and they can only use their fists. They don't have any guns or anything.
Oh, we gotta use the plan. What plan? Oh, the sticky fingers. Who's gonna be sticky? You, because you lied to me. So he has to go through and get his butt kicked. He gets punched like 10 times. But as he was doing it, he stole his gauntlet.
Yeah.
And that's able to open up one of the cells. And he does like a booster knee drop on him. Knocks him in there. Oh, you think this cell can hold me? There's nowhere in the universe you could go or hide from me. Da, 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 da. They give the gauntlet to that lady. Oh, I think you know what to do with this. She's like, oh, I know exactly what to do. Okay, now, honey, you want to give me back my gauntlet? It's okay. She opens up all the cages.
Oh, and they're all gonna get him.
And then she's surrounded by like hundreds and hundreds of guys, and she opens up his cage.
Just like the slave master. Oh, I fed you and kept the roof over your head. All that bullcrap. No. You enslaved these people.
You're gonna get it now.
So they're all like, no. And they just take him over. They're gonna kill him. They get out, and then the whole thing. So Nebula got her debt paid off. They still got the.
And Charlotte got his shit back from Wakanda.
He got his shit back from Wakanda. So that's super cool.
And then, of course, again, and if you didn't know that they were together, meet me at the rendezvous point. Cha-Cha. I'm like, okay, yeah.
Like at the rendezvous. Yeah. So then he's like, so you now that you have your people back, and then you know what are you gonna do? It's like, I don't know. I feel like I always feel like I was amongst the stars and this is where I belong, but now I don't know.
Yeah.
He's like, hey kid, there's nowhere in the universe where you don't belong. I thought that was a cool line.
Yeah,
that was a really cool line. He's like, now you just have to choose where you want to go. He goes back home, walks home. He gets welcomed back as the son and everything, and it's super funny. They're having a big party, and the same thing happens, and the Thanos is there, and they're like, hey, that sounds a whole lot like genocide. Hey, no, it's not.
That's the reason, because you went like this. It's simple, just like that. Yeah, okay.
And then he goes, yeah, it's not genocide because it's random. And it's like, And then, of course, Nebula's like, Dad, just stop. And it just sounds worse every time
he wants someone to agree with him. But
no one's going to agree with you. Nobody.
No one.
Unless they want people to die. And again, I guess they saved that dog that was in the original collection, the one who was like the
cosmonaut dog.
Yeah.
That's funny. Then the king's like, I still don't know how my son ended up in outer space because he got kidnapped. Then T'Challa's like, I was lost and Yondu saved me. Technically.
Yeah.
So that was fun. He goes, but remember, since this world things were different, shows Peter Quill was just working at the Dairy Queen, and then he meets Ego. You don't have time for your dad? He goes, other things were prevented, but it wouldn't stop other things from happening, so the whole Ego thing would probably happen.
Yeah. Right, and then basically what the Watcher said, even with T'Challa and all his good, Ego would have won.
Yeah.
It would have killed everything in the universe.
So I do like the what if, you stopped Thanos, but you wouldn't have stopped this.
Yeah, so you have to remember one had a sacrifice for the other.
Right, and I love how the Watcher said, for one family union, there was another, and it was...
See, notice how there was a good and bad? There wasn't a good and bad in Captain Peggy.
I know.
No, we're just all good, which
Captain
is
Carter,
weird.
which I
well, if you're not having Steve Rogers, but he could have been the Winter Soldier, which would have been cool.
Well, I want that. I know. People said because I saw people online go, who would you rather have where he's like in bed and he's talking to her, or the Winter Soldier? Winter Soldier all the way. Get the fight. Yes.
Who are you?
And then you find out it's him. That'd be hilarious. But he's all little.
And then you get that moment instead of saying end of the line, she could literally look at him, "You're my hero."
Yeah.
And he gets all like,
yeah, that was, like I said, the first one was more cool. This was more just a fun ride.
This is super silly and fun.
Super fun ride. Just take it. Don't think more about Thanos being a good guy. It's just a fun little thing, guys. It's fine.
It's fine, yeah.
So these have been pretty fun.
Yeah,
exactly what I wanted out of them.
I hope they do more of this, because I want to see the balance. This happened, so this would have happened.
Yeah, well, what if this happened, then guess what?
Well, maybe we'll have a pretty Quill and Ego one episode. That would be interesting how they did what they did.
I think they're going to keep everything contained to its own little storyline. So, the thing is, I want a Captain Peggy Carter show. No, just let it be.
It's just self-contained, yeah.
But, I look forward to these. They're pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
Crimson Sin here. Thanks for watching the video. Remember, liking, subscribing, sharing, and commenting on the video really helps out a lot. It gets the video spread around more people get to see the videos, and we get to make more videos for you guys. So thank you, and we appreciate every single one of you guys.